train is one of the most important aspects of transport, along with the car and aeroplane. Trains help our world go around. They can help you move across the country or across the city, and they move both people and goods. But how did we get here? Why is the train so important? And to what extent has the train changed the way people and goods move? In this video, I aim to answer these questions. Trains are a British invention. The idea dates back to the very early 1800s. But it wasn't until 1830 that the first major railway opened between two major industrial centres, Liverpool and Manchester. Trains were powered by steam, hence the name. The train was efficient because its wheels moved along rails, which had much less friction than a road surface. This meant they could travel at very high speeds. However, the drawback was they needed to run along a very flat surface. Fortunately, much of Britain was already very flat. Railways first took off in the 1840s. The British built so many of them, today we call it railway mania. The British Parliament also passed many acts to help speed up the process. However, safety was often a secondary consideration. Accidents and fatal crashes were all too common as a result. Almost overnight, the train changed what distance meant for those living in Britain. Whether it be from Manchester to Worcester, or Dartmouth to Doncaster, you could take the train. Distance was reduced from being a massive hurdle to merely an inconvenience. Whether it was holidays or business, the train became the transport of choice. However, the train not only connected big cities, it brought life into many small towns across the country. One particular example from Australia is Strathalbyn Railway Station, a small place with only room for a few trains, but it connected the small town to the rest of the state, and had facilities to service these trains. This station was like many other stations, both in Britain and Australia. For industrial Britain, many more goods can be transported at faster speeds. No longer do you have to transport your coal in some really slow canal. What is critical to say, however, is the invention of the railways did not cause the Industrial Revolution. Rather, they were a byproduct of it. What the train did do was enable the Industrial Revolution to continue and to progress into the 1800s. It revolutionised travel, that was for sure, but the Industrial Revolution was already in full swing by the time of its invention. To see how the railway changed transport, we can look at their continuing importance, right up until today. Most railways built in the Industrial Revolution remain intact. Railways still have almost the same importance today as the first ones did. They are still responsible for hauling most goods, especially in the vast distances of Australia, and many cities depend on them to move millions of people every day. To a large part, we owe the modern connectivity of our world to railway stations and the steam train. They were some of the original methods of fast communication. Trains, however, no longer run on steam. Since the 1950s, they've all been diesel powered. These days, a typical cargo train will run up to 1.8 kilometers in length and travel at over 100 kilometers an hour. Railways have undoubtedly changed the face of transport forever. In answer to the question set at the start of this video, to what extent did the steam train change the way people and goods moved? Well, to put it simply, in all ways. You could move both faster and cheaper than you did before. You could transport both goods and people at the same time, or even in different trains. And in fact, besides that overwhelming noise, and their tendency to send massive amounts of pollution into the atmosphere, there are no real downsides to the train. Even after all these years, the train is still being used in the way it was originally designed. That original design and purpose has stood the test of time. In conclusion, the train revolutionized travel, and unlike many inventions from the time, we still use them today, in almost the form that they were first made. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. If you would like to see more content like this, please comment down below.